So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 5 tasks that can be automated using AI, and I'm going to show you how you can automate these in your businesses to help you buy back that time. So if you run a small or a medium-sized business, I can guarantee you that you are wasting tens of hours a week on tasks that AI can do for you. And so these are not even the important tasks like sales or strategy. These are tasks like data entry, invoicing, replying to the same email for the 100th time. So at Alavo Partners, we build custom AI solutions for small and medium-sized businesses across a variety of different niches. So that includes real estate, hospitality, we work with wholesaling companies and many other different niches. And what's wild is when we speak to these business owners, we see the same type of tasks being done on a repetitive basis, and those tasks can easily be automated using AI. So the first task that I wanted to talk about is a task whereby you're inputting data from, let's say, a manual piece of sheet or sheet of paper into something digital. And so we see this time and time again where people are copying data and pasting it elsewhere, or whether that's maybe data that's written out and they have to type it up manually. And so an example for you is we actually worked with an investor, a property investor who had multiple different businesses. He had about 15 different businesses. And at the end of each month, he was having to download the statements for each individual bank across these 15 different businesses and manually input every single transaction into a spreadsheet so that he could keep track of both profit and loss of each business. And this was a manual task at the end of every month that he had to do. And so it was taking him 10, 15 hours a month to do. And so what we've now built him is an AI-powered dashboard, whereby that's all he has to now do at the end of the month is he downloads the bank statements from each individual bank, he drags the bank statement, he drops it into the AI-powered dashboard. And this AI-powered dashboard is specifically trained because it's custom built on his data. And so the AI-powered dashboard then categorizes each individual transaction into its relevant category. And he has then a dashboard where he can see all 15 of his businesses, the performance on a monthly basis. And this specific client also works with investors. So he also has the ability to give the investors access to their specific business. So they're also keeping them in the loop on a monthly basis, saving him 10, 15 hours, and not just that, having to do a boring, repetitive task. So the second example I want to walk you through is an invoicing and a processing solution. So we were working with a food wholesaling company, and they were in a position processing about 40 orders a day from their clients. And the process was very manual and very repetitive. And so just to walk you through the process, it was a case of taking the order via phone, writing the order down on a piece of paper. Then they had to input that order into a labeling software. And then they had to input it into the invoicing software and then create the invoice and send the invoice off. Now that whole process was taken around about 30 minutes per order. So you do the maths, 40 orders a day, 30 minutes per order. And so what we've now built this individual is we've built him an AI-powered automation system whereby as soon as the order is done, it's taken digitally. As soon as the staff member clicks submit, automation is fired and the invoice is created on the back end, can then be automatically sent off to the respective client, buying this person back hours and hours a month so that he can reallocate the staff to do more high value tasks that's actually going to grow the business. So the third example, if you're a small or a medium-sized business owner, is having to answer repetitive questions time and time again. And so what we've been able to do for one of our clients is we've been able to build a chatbot that's able to reply to certain questions that this individual was having on a weekly basis. And so the chatbot, like I said, is not a generic GPT. This chatbot is specific to the business and to the information that the business holds. And so the chatbot has learned that information and is now able to respond in the same tone, in the same manner as the individual that was working within the business would respond. And so the good thing about the chatbot is the chatbot doesn't clock off at 5 p.m. This is a 24-hour thing that is actually launched on this individual's website. And so having that ability whereby any questions that come up now, whether that's pricing, any type of repetitive question, is covered by this chatbot. So the fourth example use case that I have for you is a reporting use case. Now, I find that a lot of small to medium-sized business owners tend to make decisions based off of gut feeling rather than having a reporting system or solution whereby they can track data to then make decisions off the back of data. And so this example that I'll show you is actually a real estate consultancy. So what we built them out was a CEO dashboard whereby now all of the data, up to 80% of the metrics, is tracked automatically. And then the other 20% of the metrics are tracked via an end of week report via the team members. And so the data that they're now able to track includes, sales data, marketing data, operations data, and anything additional that they needed, we were able to build out into the solution. So the fifth and final example that I have for you today is a follow-up system. Now, I'm sure you guys have either experienced this or you've heard of this from other businesses where a lead gets in contact, you have a great conversation, you put in the notes to follow up in maybe 3 days time, 7 days time, but life gets busy, you forget, and then that lead goes and buys elsewhere. Well, with an automated follow-up system, the right message is sent at the right time because the system is built based on your data and based on how you would like to communicate with the customers. And so this isn't even a time saver. This system is actually a money maker because often following up from those leads will then result in you getting the close or you getting the client on board, which is revenue generating. So that's the 5 examples that I thought I'd walk you through today and share some real world experiences with you. Now, those 5 are just a handful of things that can genuinely be automated. What I would recommend you is if you are a small or a medium-sized business owner and any of those examples, they resonated with you and even made you wince a little, what I'd recommend is just start with one. Pick one system or one current process that you would like to automate, and probably the one that's going to be the highest value, the one that's going to either buy you back the most amount of time or save you the most money, and look to automate that system. So if you are a small or a medium-sized business owner and you'd like to learn more about how you can implement AI and automation into your business, we are currently running free 30-minute strategy calls where we can deep dive into your business and just outline what we can automate and what can't be automated using AI and automation. So the link to that is below in the description. If you've got any questions, reach out. If you enjoyed this content, leave a like, also leave a comment and hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be sharing more examples of how you can utilize AI as a business owner over the next few weeks. Thanks for watching.